Folks, Kilt-Man here. Yes, hey, here we are. And guess what? I've got an axe to grind. 1, 2 axes to grind. Two, because I'm not furious. I tell you, furious. I'm not really. Hey, listen, remember I began this little series of reviews for sword and sorcery fantasy movies from the halcyon time of the early 80s. I reviewed, first of all, The Sword and the Sorcerer, a massive cult favourite of mine, directed by Albert Pyon, made in 1982, his answer to his economical, low budget, but cut and thrust answer to the big brooding Arnie Conan the Barbarian. And a classic it was too. At the end, in the end credits of that film, he touts Talon, who's the hero of that movie, will return in Tales of an Ancient Empire. A film that never actually reappeared until 2010, 2011, something like that. And so, you know, I said at the time of that review, well, I've never seen that sequel, and yet I love the original movie. I've heard dire things about the sequel when it finally did, you know, get released. It was meant to be truly wretched and awful, but nothing can ever be as bad as people make out, can it? There's always so bad it's great, or it's, you know, there's points of merit to every single endeavour. I'm a firm believer in that. No one sets out to make a shit film. They don't. They just don't. And Albert Pyon, director of Sword and the Sorcerer, finally returned to his original movie. Sword and the Sorcerer was his first ever film, his directorial debut. He didn't write it, but he directed it. But his hallmark was all over it. He would then go on to do the Cyborg movies and a slew of kickboxing movies and Jean-Claude Van Damme films, all low-budget actioners, all with charm and charisma and action aplenty. So this guy could easily return all these decades later to his original classic, which everybody loves, and, you know, come back fighting, you know. Well, I said, you know, I'll review it because I ordered it. On the basis of reviewing the original movie, I thought, sod it, I'm gonna get that sequel. It only exists on DVD, I think. Well, certainly in this country anyway. Not even a Blu-ray. And well, it's lucky it was a nice cheap DVD that I managed to get my hands on, because if I'd bought the Blu-ray of it from overseas, because at the measly sum from Amazon, which I think it was like £6 to get this, I could easily snap this into. But here it is. Tales of an Ancient Empire. This is the long-awaited sequel to the 1982 cult classic fantasy epic, The Sword and the Sorcerer. Well, okay, forget the fact it's a sequel. It isn't. It isn't at all. It does name drop a few characters from the original movie. Zusha, the demon, the sorcerer from the original movie. And you do get a cameo appearance by the awesome Lee Horsley, who played, you know, Talon, the hero of The Sword and the Sorcerer, who comes back to play a wizened, old, shaggy-haired, grey-haired old mercenary in this brothel / tavern. He's been bedding wenches left, right and centre, which that's true to form. That's true to form. And he gives some sage advice to the rather ridiculous heroes and heroines of this particular saga, and then just shuffles off and is not seen again. He fucking ran. He took the money and he ran. Albert Pyon, mate, no. Now, look at this. I only put this on because I felt barbaric, you know, in the mood to be, you know, a pure, ferociously driven, vengeance-fueled barbarian. Because I feel massively, massively upset, insulted, and injured, wounded by this fucking shite fest of a movie. Albert Pine, mate, you know, I sung your praises. I'm going to tell you all something now. I used to work for AV Forums. I have mentioned this before, and I was a Blu-ray reviewer, movie reviewer, soundtrack reviewer, and merchandise reviewer. You know, I did it for many, many years. And I reviewed Sword and the Sorcerer, and I wrote a massive filmic essay really, really praising it. Believe it or not, Albert Pine, its director, got on to me. He loved the review. He then said, I am trying to get, because I wrote, we need the sequel. Come on, Mr. Pine, let's get the sequel to this. Get Talon back, The Tales of an Ancient Empire. And he got on to me, and he said, I'm working on it now. And I got back to him and said, like, oh, please, Mr. Pine, oh, I'm so made up you got on. This was actually on the forum, on the site itself. This could be read by all and sundry. And I was made up that he'd read the review and he liked it. And he got on to me personally and said, you know, I'm getting it off the ground, you know. And I said to him, whatever you've got, I'll help promote it. I'll do whatever I can, you know, because I love this character of Talon. I love what you've done, you know, and I can't wait for it. I didn't hear back from him. It's just as well, because what he unleashed upon the world. Well, A, it's not a film. It does not tell a complete story. I am not even going to bother to try and tell you the plot of this, because it makes no sense. No sense whatsoever. A vampirical daughter of this princeling thing who wants her role within the new hierarchy. Another daughter, so her half-sister. A brother, played by Kevin Sorbo, who's a mercenary warrior. You know, meant to be akin to Talon, obviously. But Kevin Sorbo, who is not the world's greatest actor. No, he's not. But he's got charisma, and he's got a bit of screen presence, and he's got a sense of humour. He was Hercules, wasn't he, in the legendary, you know, Adventures of Hercules, or something like that. And he's played Krull the Conqueror as well, which was a Conan-style adventure, originally created by Robert E. Howard, who created Conan. He created Krull as well, and Kevin Sorbo played him. So he's no stranger to muscle-bound, loincloth-clad, sword-swinging. And he's in this for no fucking reason whatsoever. Doesn't do a damn thing. Not a thing. The women who are in it, they all like, you know, softcore porn stars. They can't speak. The vampirical ones can't speak around their own fangs. These fucking big fangs that can't speak around. Anyone seen Bohemian Rhapsody with Rami Malek playing Freddie Mercury? I reviewed it. Enjoyable film. Not the most factually accurate, but he has to speak around these phenomenal fucking horse teeth as Freddy Krueger. As Freddie Mercury. And he does a better job than these girls sporting these fangs who mangle their lines something chronic. But it makes no odds. You don't give a toss what their lines are. This is a film where you have people acting against a green screen backdrop of animated bullshit taking place behind them. But it's so bad. Look at me now. You can just see half of me. Well, imagine a character standing there like this with another couple of guys. You only see half their head, but not all their body. And they're talking while action takes place behind them on an animated backdrop that's so poorly drawn. And that is a huge element of the movie. You see things like this so often. The sets, when you get them, are someone's house, someone's back garden. That's it. That's all they are. The fights don't exist. Do not exist. Swords are brought out. People do die. But it's all the most ridiculous pantomime shite you've ever witnessed. Truly god awful. The script makes no sense. The film doesn't even have an ending. It just seems to. Things happen, people talk, they're in catacombs, then some kind of mystical semantics are delivered and a big speech, and then I will rise up and I will return, I will hunt him down. As this girl gets up from this desert sequence desert. She's lying on like what is just literally a bed of sand, but in the background is a a green screen backdrop of the deserts of White Sands, California. That's obviously where those shots were taken. But they haven't gone there. They've just done it in someone's backyard and then put this backdrop in. And that happens throughout the film. It's so poor. The effects are so bad. The script so inept, so annoyingly banal. Within 20 minutes, I was furious. And I stuck with it. I stuck with it until the end. And then I watched it all again. Yeah. I, Kilt-Man, have seen that twice. And I still can't tell you what the story is. Who does what to whom? I don't fucking remember. And I don't fucking care. This is a film that actually made me genuinely angry. I have a massive screen. And I have to stop myself from punching and kicking hell out of that bloody big screen. 75-inch screen, for God's sake. And I was going to destroy it on the basis of Albert Pyun's travesty of a film. Mate, I do sing your praises about your first ever film. But what happened? What happened? What is this? It's garbage. You know it's garbage. You've got far better talent than what you showed there. Do you want to know the worst thing about this? The really thing that pissed me off so much. Not only was Lee Horsley, the original talent from Sword and the Sorcerer, actually in this. Why did he agree? There is a sequence where these vampires are in the desert and a robed and hooded character appears at this mirage. Don't go thinking that this looks visually superb. It doesn't. It looks like it was filmed here. In Kilt-Man's kitchen. Only it would look far better, far more authentic and more believable, more evocative. But it's filmed all this green screen, and this guy comes out of this shimmering mirage and fires. Now remember when I reviewed Sword and the Sorcerer, I did discuss the most lamentable sword in fantasy film history is Talon's three-bladed sword, where he can actually fire the blades off like torpedoes to skewer an opponent, effectively leaving him unarmed. So he'd have to go and get the blades back and put them back in again after dragging him out of a carcass. Wipe the gore off it and put it back in, And this guy, this shimmering thing appears at the mirage, and these vampire vixens arise, and they then, you don't even see him fire the blades. You just see these cartoon blades whiz through the air, and it's not even convincing the way they skewer the people. It's all done with CG, and really poor CG. My 11-year-old daughter, out there somewhere, could knock up better effects on their laptop in 5 minutes than the effects in this movie. They are so jaw-droppingly shit you would not believe. Anyway, so this guy fires 3 blades and takes out these vampires, and you're thinking, even though it looked awful, you're thinking, well, at least Talon had his sword and came back to do some action with his 3-bladed tri-sword. It's not him. The hook comes down, and it's this fucking ridiculous dude with the worst wig on. It's peroxide blonde wig. It's like a Thor style wig, but it's shiny white, and clearly is not. It's barely attached to his head. It is not his hair. Do you know who that guy is? Michael Paré, from Streets of Fire. Streets of Fire, The Philadelphia Experiment, John Carpenter's Village of the Damned. The guy was a bit of a mover and shaker in the 80s. He's done lots of TV work as well. But he was a good, likeable fella. I always enjoyed anything he surfaced in, even no matter how short or small his role might have been. Always enjoyed seeing him. And he's this apocryphal fucking idiot in this, with the most ridiculous wig. This white, neon, glowing fucking elven white fucking hair. And it almost floats above his head because it's not attached. It's barely even glued to his noggin. Folks, I hate this film. I hate it. I have never hated a film as much as this. I love all the video nasties. Well, I don't love them all. I respect them for what they are in the horror pantheons of cinematic history. I had them all. I ditched many of them because a lot of them are just crap films. They're gore for gore's sake, or they're just trying to be absurdistly nihilistic and offensive for the sake of it. Fine, if that's what your modus operandi is, fine. I'll take that on board and I'll give my verdict. One of the most infamous films is actually a good film, and it's called The Last House on the Left, and it's a revamped version, a late 60s, early 70s version of Ingmar Bergman's The Virgin Spring. Two girls are abducted after going to a rock concert. They are then subjected to abuse, rape, torture, and then murder. Now, this film's notable because the two guys who made it, one was Sean Cunningham, who would go on to make the Friday the 13th movies, and the other was Wes Craven, who would go on to do Nightmare on Elm Street, Hills of Eyes, and Scream. Now dead, of course, sadly now dead. But it's a film I vowed I would never watch again because I detest seeing people being abused endlessly and with no chance of survival or fighting back. And I hated the film at the time, but I do recognise the merit in a film like that for what it did to the horror genre, how it changed the face of the horror genre. And I understand, it's well acted as well for what it is, a low budget, shocker. So it's a lot to actually, even though I don't like the subject matter and I don't enjoy the viewing process of watching that film, and I will never watch it again. They remade it, and that version was crap as well. Well, it was crap compared to the original. It wasn't as hard hitting, and they kind of skewed everything so that, because the original movie is half the film is the girls being tortured, then the torturers contrive to end up in the house of the parents of one of the girls, who find the girls murdered girls' clothes and then exact their revenge for all of like a final sort of 10-15 minute sequence. But in the remake, half the movie is the revenge on these guys, and but it doesn't make it a better film. It doesn't make it any more palatable. And I hated that movie, the original one, but I'll take that hands down any day, all day long over this shit. Tales of an Ancient fucking Empire. So much potential, so much material to use, so much to fall back on, so much cult fandom, expectancy and anticipation, and you delivered this cack-handed shit. Fuck you, man. Fuck you. You ever seen Kilt-Man get angry before? I'm not really angry. I'm only acting. And I'm acting better than anyone does in that bloody shitfest of a movie. Jesus Christ. I paid money for that. I might even snap the disc on camera. No, I'm not going to do that. No, I'm not going to. Because that, if anything, is going to be a lesson learned for me. I don't tend to believe other people's reviews and verdicts. Well, no, I take them on board, but I always like to, make my own opinions. Like, when I give you my opinions and review of a film, I don't expect you to take that as like, well, Kilt-Man said it's awesome, so it must be. And then you watch it and go, well, must be something wrong with me because he said it was awesome. I thought it was only okay. It's only ever, my opinion. It's only ever my subjective opinion. And anyone else's reviews are the same. So you could argue back now that, oh, hang on, well, Kilt-Man, maybe Tales of an Ancient Empire actually is really good, and you're just being really over the top and silly because you didn't like it. Well, know you now that absolutely nobody likes this movie. All the reviews say it's a clunker, an absolute, Z-grade fucking stinker. crud at the lowest and stinkiest, degree. And it's only because, I love Sword and Sorcerer. I thought, look, I owe it to myself to try and get hold of this and at least give it its day in court. And like, it might not be that bad. You might find some worth in it. No. Even the fact that Lee Horsley's in there, and I love Talon, and he's definitely Talon. He's the older version of Talon. But no. He shouldn't be there. It's an insult to him. Definitely an insult. I wish he hadn't done it. I wish Albert Pyon, who has a deft hand with low budget actioners, and yet come up with this. It's got like a 15, maybe 20 minute opening sequence or opening salvo of montage, narration, animation before the fucking title of the film even comes on. And you're like, what are we? And so the film starts 15 minutes in, ostensibly, and it ends a good 15 minutes before the end of the film actually stops. The story ends there because, well, what little story there is. And then you get this ridiculous sort of bit tacked on at the end. And you're meant to think, this thing's coming back, so there'll be a third part. Pray to God. Pray to Odin. Pray to any god you fucking well like that no third part ever gets made. Or that if it does get made, Kilt-Man makes it. Kilt-Man remakes Sword and the Sorcerer with a Kilt-Man starring as Talon. That could work. In fact, I could film it in this kitchen. I've got all the props, the weaponry. I've got the armour, shields, fucking hell. I've got all the masks of demons. You name it. I could cobble that together tonight and make a better film than Pyon did with Tales of an Ancient Empire. Fuck's sake. Folks, this has been a rant. But don't you worry, because I'll be back very soon with a much more positive story, because I'm going to review next of all, can you guess? I did name drop it the other day. Hawk the Slayer. Yes, a low budget, campy piece of shit that many people think, what? But I tell you what, that is Oscar worthy material compared to the travesty that is Tales of an Ancient Empire. Fuck me. That Hawk the Slayer is genius. And I'm going to have a real whale of a time watching that again tonight and then probably reviewing it tomorrow for you. Because it's great fun. It is great fun. And it's proper fantasy from the 70s. It takes on, the idea of, it's sort of Tolkien meets Dungeons and Dragons. Dungeons and Dragons. Like I said that too quick first time. So Tolkien meets D&D. Elves, witches, warlocks, sorcerers, knights, trolls, ogres, treasure, mystical mind swords. It is pure role-playing game. That's all it is, but set to a movie. And it is cheap. It is pure fucking low-budget, cheapskate, shenanigans. But it's got charm, it's got wit, and it's bloody enjoyable, And I can't wait to watch it now. To, literally wash myself free of the fucking travesty that is Tales of an Ancient Empire. Well, folks, I've now wasted 24 odd minutes ripping that film a new arsehole. But if my job is, to make you aware, if nothing else, avoid that film. Don't even watch it thinking, it could be worth a laugh at least. It's not. I watched it twice. I was dumbfounded after the first viewing. I had to watch it again to think I have clearly missed something here. Clearly, there's some kind of plot. Surely there's something that happens that makes sense. There's some action there that I may have just blinked and missed. No. I watched it again and I hated it all the more. And to think I was made up when it turned up as well. Amazon Prime, the day after. Next day delivery, and I was like, whoa, it's here. Can't wait to watch this. Shitbags. Folks, I have been and forever will be Kilt-Man. I honour you and you and you. And please, like, share and subscribe. Let's get this kilted army on the move. The more power we have, the more fun we're going to have. Maybe Kilt-Man Productions could at some point go into some kind of filmic adventuring and endeavour. Come on now, wouldn't that be great? Right, folks, I'm now going to split and I'm going to watch Hawk the Slayer, and then I'm going to get back to you all with my verdict. But you all know it's going to be fairly positive, even though up until watching Tales of an Ancient Empire, Hawk the Slayer was always the bottom rung of the ladder, the bottom. But you kind of, you always try to help it up a little bit because, look, it had potential, it had such great aspirations, it's earnest, and it's, it just got so much charm and so much great fun elements to it. And I'll come on to the music when I do the proper review, because the music is another thing altogether. Wait for that. Folks, as always, it's been great giving up my time to talk to you all. I hope you enjoyed my rant and rave. And I warn you, steer clear of Tales of an Ancient Empire. But by all means, beg, borrow, steal, buy, get your hands on Sword and the Sorcerer, the original. They are each extreme end of the spectrum. One's classic, one's tripe. Made by the same guy as well, who should have got better over the years. I don't know. It's almost like he's taking the piss. Anyway, guys, look, that's it for now. That's it. Folks, stay safe. Stay barbaric. Wield a sword or an axe. And attempt acts of daring do. Whenever your heart feels like it. In the meantime, please be safe. And I'm going to see you all, well, later.